Hello everyone, and welcome back to TSN, or the Sasuke Nerds. I'm your host Shane, and today, I'm going to be sharing my review of the newest tournament of Sasuke, Sasuke 41. Going into this tournament, I was holding my breath. The build-up for it was honestly not very good, as most of the trailers didn't really make the tournament seem like it was anything special. And on top of that, the trials and Koshin made me feel apathetic at best, and while the lineup was solid, it didn't make me feel super excited like 40's lineup did. But, despite all of that, I still went into the tournament with an open mind, hoping for at least a solid follow-up from last tournament. Did that end up happening? Well, let's find out. First, I'm going to go over the positives this tournament had. The biggest standout to me was some of the new blood that we saw make it far. So it was really awesome to see new faces break out. The most obvious being Ryosuke Miyaoka, who on just his first attempt on the show, tied for first place, making it to the last section of the new vertical limit burst. It was especially cool since before this he was a tester for Sasuke 40, so we all knew he had some potential, but nobody could have expected it would come this soon. The other two big ones were Yuta Yamashita and Wasabi, one being a two-time competitor who had an insane breakout, and the other being a celebrity who, I'll be honest, I never thought would even get far on stage 1. Either way, all three were welcome additions to the tournament. The next positive I'll go over is the vertical limit burst. I think it looks amazing with the lighting, and I'm happy we got our new necessary addition to stage 3. While I'm gonna be honest, this should have been added in Sasuke 39. I'm at least glad we got it now, and that it did its damage. Subsequently, the next positive is that Yusuke finally touched the water again for the first time in 6 years. Let's just hope this isn't a one-time occurrence, but I'm sure he's building the obstacle as we speak, so I'm not holding my breath there. The final positive I'll go over was the stage 1 shocks. There's a ton to point out, but I'll start with the All-Stars. Look, I don't think anyone was expecting anything massive after 40, despite Shingo's stage 1 clear, but I don't think anyone was expecting 2 quad steps or rolling hill fails, and neither of them were Yamada. Nagano's fail was honestly just hilarious, as he put too much spray on his shoes, so they basically just stuck to the step when he jumped. Some other fails include Kawaguchi's miss on the Dragon Glider, Iwamoto's faceplant on the new Twin Diamonds, and the weirdest one of all, Renee Sugeta's Shingo-like slip on the Silk Slider. There's probably a lot more that I'm missing, but it was for sure a highlight of the tournament. Now let's move on to some of the things I'm a bit mixed on. I mentioned one new obstacle being a positive with the vertical limit burst, but the other one is going to end up on this section. While I thought that Twin Diamonds started out good, as it seemed like it was going to be a tough obstacle for everyone to conquer, it honestly got figured out pretty quickly, and I think it's going to get stale from this point on. Give it 1 or 2 more tournaments, and I'm sure only people failing it will be the comedians. Next up is the foreigners. It was honestly amazing to see Daniel Gill and Renee Castley compete, especially since they got super far. But as usual, the foreigners are treated like an afterthought. Throughout all 3 stages, both of them are never even shown in full, and I'm certain that half the audience watching had no clue what all the buzz was about them since they were barely even shown. Next are the injuries. I'll admit that Kenji Darvish's stage 1 run was a highlight of the tournament for me. As a Darvish fan, I was really happy that he was returning and he put on a great show, coming so close to clearing but failing at the last moment. However, that moment is practically spoiled when you realize that if Darvish cleared, he wasn't even gonna run stage 2. Just look at Shinsuke. He cleared stage 1 with a leg injury he had prior to the tournament. He had to withdraw before his stage 2 run because of this injury. And to me, it's just like, why would you even have him compete? Same goes for Darvish, but it's even worse with him since he still had his leg wrapped up at the starting line, ran in pain, and fell from the top of the work wall leg first. I think injuries can create good TV moments, but these just left me questioning what went wrong here. The last thing I have mixed feelings on, and this is probably going to get me some flack, but hear me out, Caillou and Nakashima's clears. These were great moments, especially with Caillou, seeing Nagano's own son break through and carry the torch for the Nagano family. basically showing how strong the Nagano name will always be in the sport. Unfortunately, I can't fully love this for the same reasons as Kane and Shingo's clears last tournament. If a 14-year-old can clear this stage on his second go, then I'm just baffled on how easy this stage 1 is. I really don't think this should be happening, and although on one hand I'm happy it did, as it created a wholesome moment for the tournament, it just makes me want this course to be overhauled even more. That goes for runs like Jun Sato too. His stage 1 run was hilarious, although let's be honest, he wasn't getting shown if he didn't do all that stuff. But it's like, am I even supposed to take this course seriously when the competitors are purposefully clowning on it in their own runs? Anyway, let's move on. Now we get to the negatives, the things that I straight up did not like. I'll get to the obvious one out of the way. Stage 2 wasn't entertaining at all. I label this one as the obvious one because this has to come with a lot of recent tournaments. With how Stage 2 is run and how the course is, I just don't think it's ever going to be entertaining until they overhaul it. Along with that, the edit screws pretty much half the roster over by just digest clearing them. And that's pretty much always going to happen. So I don't put this strongly against the tournament specifically. What I will put against the tournament is that 15 people made it to Stage 3. That should speak for itself on what I think about the course as a whole. On the flip side, the editing through stages 1 and 2, while an improvement over 40, was still not very good. The same people getting digested, and instead we focus on fluff pieces that take way too long, it's all the same. I don't want to go over this too much since I'm just beating a dead horse, but it really sucks when you look at the roster, see Jun Sato and Tomohiro Muto, and immediately think, oh, that's when 8 people get clear digested. That pretty much sums it up. Finally, and this is the one that ties it all together, Stage 3. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that this tournament had one of the worst Stage 3s I've ever seen. I don't think there was a single thing I liked about it besides the vertical limit burst. Let me put this in perspective for a second. Stages 1 to 2, while not great, weren't anything terrible. And to be honest, when Stage 2 finished, I was kind of excited. Despite the 15 clears being annoying, I thought, fine, put 15 people on Stage 3 and let's see what happens. Because going into this, I was certain that we were going to get a winner, whether it was Yusuke or Yusuke and 3 other people as well. As it turns out, that didn't happen due to the new vertical limit, but that should mean even more time is put towards Stage 3, right? Right? Nope. Instead, most of the stock is put in the first 3 to 4 runs, which, while all good runs, had everyone fail the cliff dimension, so I think if you were going to put them anywhere, some mid-cuts would have worked here. However, after this run, the pacing suddenly speeds up a ton, and we're treated almost half the field getting mid-cut or digested. The same people too, like Jun, Muto, Kaitaro, and of course Tada, who, let's be honest, is probably never getting shown in full on all 3 stages again. And I'm not trying to pick on him specifically, but while I liked Wasabi's breakout this tournament, surely one of his 3 full shown runs could have been chopped to show one of those people's runs. This really killed all the build-up from the first 2 stages, because why would I even care about these guys if they're not going to get shown or fail the cliffhanger every single time? Same goes for the foreigners too. We're seeing their fluff pieces for the first time here, on Stage 3. How is anyone meant to take them seriously when they knew nothing about them until the very end of the tournament? The last thing I'll say on the edit of Stage 3 is that the past results of these competitors just seem to mean nothing. Take Yoshiyuki for example. He got 2nd place last time, making it to the final stage, and he gets barely anything this tournament. Save for a Stage 3 run, he gets shafted so bad here. I've come to expect it from the people I mentioned before, but Yoshiyuki, the top contender behind Yusuke, it's ridiculous. The other thing I'll say on Stage 3 is just, goddamn, the course needs an overhaul. I know I've said that already, but it's pretty clear that the swing edge is useless. Out of the 15 attempts, we had 1 pre-cliffhanger fail, and it wasn't even on the swing edge. Newcomers can beat this thing now. 45-year-old Yuji seemed to have no issue with it, and I'm just left wondering if our competitors can adapt that quick, or if the obstacle is just that easy. Oh, and the other 2 obstacles before it need to go too. Overall, was I satisfied at the end of this tournament? Well, in a word, No. In the end, this tournament sadly leaves me more concerned for Sasuke's future more than anything else. Despite us getting a 5-hour time slot for the third time in a row, it seems that once again, the editing team really has no clue how to handle it, and it leaves us with a jumbled mess that was Stage 3. The course is just way too easy, and these results show more than anything else, but I honestly don't know if it will change. While there were some good, even great parts to this tournament, there were also some really bad parts that brought down a lot of my mixed feelings too. If I had to describe Sasuke 41 in 2 words, it would be forgettable and frustrating. I'm feeling a 5.5 out of 10 on this tournament. That's going to conclude my Sasuke 41 review, and I know this is obvious, but this is just my opinion, and if you liked the tournament more than I did, that's great. I'm happy you found more enjoyment in it than I could. What did you think about Sasuke 41? Good? Bad? Somewhere in between? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to TSN. Take care, guys.